Okay, we're going to talk to you a little bit about your next speech, the process speech, and tell you some things that might help you do a better job on that. Let's go over what the instructions are on the speech. It's a 100-point speech. 4 minutes is the length. Now that means that you can go 3:45 to 4:15. Okay, you got about 30 seconds of slop time. Don't go severely over that or under that. Delivery method is what you've already done. You'll need a speaking outline and a preparation outline. Please look in your textbook, chapter 10, and it'll show you examples of that. Follow those examples. You need no visual aid per se, but and it's optional, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And sources are optional, but if you give a quote or a fact and you don't source it, then you are in trouble. So let's kind of get a little beyond that. We'll talk more about that in a second. On the introduction, we want to know, did you get their attention, introduce clearly, did you establish your credibility? Establishing your credibility is pretty much crucial in every one of your speeches, and it's done as simply as, all of my life I have been a fan of or interested in or puttered around with, or I have a black belt in judo. That establishes credibility. But if you start talking about something and you don't establish your credibility, then it establishes you don't have any credibility. In the body, we're looking that your points are clear, that they're fully supported, your organization is well planned, your language is appropriate and clear. In your conclusion, we want to know, did you prepare the audience for the ending? Did you summarize the main points? And did you have a vivid ending? On the delivery, did you begin without rushing? Did you maintain strong eye contact? Look at the camera. That's me. Don't look at your audience. Look at me. Did you use vocal variety, add impact? Did you use pauses effectively? Did you avoid distracting mannerisms? Remember, we talked about the tisk sound when people talk. We want to make sure those kinds of things. Or flipping your hair. A lot of girls do that. Long-haired guys do it too. All right. You articulated your words clearly. You presented visual aids well. You communicated enthusiasm. You had a conversational approach. You spoke with me, not at me. Okay? You don't speech to me. You talk with me. All right. You have effective gestures and movement. And then the overall evaluation is you met the outline criteria, so make sure you pay attention to that. Your topic was useful and interesting. You completed within the time limit, and the message was adapted to the audience. Now, I'm going to say this one time. This shot, if you give me a shot other than this shot in the entire video after your audience is introduced, then you already have lost at least 1 letter grade. I have preached this, and I preached it, and I preached it in the last speech. Most people, not most, some people paid absolutely no attention. Shoot straight in, not up. You must stand when you give your speech, not sit. And your audience must pass in front of the camera, give their name and their age, or that they're over 21. Do not show them sitting. Do not take a picture of them after your speech, before your speech starts. And remember, the time it takes to introduce the audience is subtracted from your speech time. So if you got someone timing you and they say you've hit 4 minutes and it took you 1.5 minutes to introduce your audience, no, you don't have 4 minutes. You have 4 minutes minus 1.5 minutes. What else do you need to know? Pay attention to all of the things we talk about when we give the speeches. Dress nicely for your speech. Don't stand in front of doors, windows, or bright lights. Get a plain background so it doesn't distract from what you're saying. Be close to the camera because the microphone's on the camera so we can hear you. All right, let's talk a little bit about the speech. The process speech is a kind of a chronological, step-by-step kind of thing so the audience will understand how something develops, how to do something, how to understand how something happens, and also how to select the right device and things like that. This is all in the process speech instructions. Let me put it in a more simple fashion for you. Watch a cooking show. It's very linear, very chronological in the way they do things. Never have you seen in a cooking show anyone ever take the flour bag and dump it into the measuring cup to get exactly a cup of flour. They say, put in a cup of flour, and they dump it in. It's already measured out. You don't need to see those things. Have your speech organized. Cooking is really good because it's understandable. There are steps in cooking to help you to understand what we're talking about. So, in a cook, you have a cup of sugar, a half cup of milk, 3/4 of a cup of flour, a teaspoon of vanilla, something, 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 and you're just dumping those things in. As you go along, you explain some of the process for that. If you do anything like that, remember, if you turn on a mixer, it makes noise, and it'll compete with you when you are speaking. So don't try to talk while you're making a bunch of noise. At the near conclusion of this, you have it all panned up, and you're about ready to put it in the oven. And I'm going to exaggerate here now. You say something like, and when you get it all in the kind of knock the bubbles out and all of that stuff, all you cooks know what I'm talking about. You say, and then you put it in the oven at 4,000 degrees for 12 hours. And when it's done, it looks like this. It's crucial in a step-by-step speech that you are showing us what the finished product looks like, as well as what the steps are to get there. Okay? Now, a couple of other quick comments. On the discussion boards, many of you are not hitting the deadline date for your first entry. And then you are not commenting. It's not a comment to say, oh, I really like that idea. That's really good. Those are 2 sentences of nothing. Remember, the assignment is to add something to what they said. Help them formulate their ideas a little more clearly. Anything like that. But many of you are losing points because you have not followed the instructions on the assignment. You don't post it in time on the first part. And on the second part, you are in there responding to someone before Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Okay, we look at that kind of stuff. It's all timestamped, so we can look at it. I sent you last time a copy of where you were grade-wise. Next time I send that out after this speech, you'll have a pretty good idea how you're doing, because we've got 4 discussion boards already done. Some of you have already done the second exam, so the first exam is clearly done, and the second one is underway. So you'll have a pretty good idea how you're doing points-wise in the class after we finish this round of speeches that are due in on Sunday. All right, please, please, please follow the directions to the letter. Many of you are not coming close to what I have told you in these videos, that you are supposed to send me a message and tell me that you have watched this video from start to finish. I keep track of that. When you tell me you watched it from start to finish, in the next video I look at, you are not doing this shot, you're shooting up, any of those things, then you ruin your credibility. Okay? If you have any questions, call me in my office. I have a couple of people that call me with some regularity. I love it because we get a chance to talk, and it's a lot easier for me to look at what you're looking at the same time you're looking at it and figure out some things about what the answer may be to a question you have. Any questions? Give me a shout. We'll talk more on the critiques of your process speech videos, and look forward to doing that. You have a great one.